Well, here we go again. So in my haste, I forgot to put in the struts. So I'm gonna have to pop the torsion bars back out. I'm gonna have to loosen up the lower control arms and pull them back so that I can put the struts in there. Oh well. Alright, so this is how I check for straightness. You can see that one is wobbling back and forth. The other one. That one's fine. So this one's bent. This one's fine. I could probably get away with putting it back in there, but I've got some spares I'll go through. I got a couple of spare K-members my buddy Dennis gave me. They're both jacked up. This one is messed up because this piece that the pivot pin goes through is completely broken out. Broken out on that side. So this K-member is kind of ruined. But the struts are on there. They look straight. I'm gonna pop them off, see if they're straight. He also gave me this K-member, which was on his Pro Street Charger, and he put a motor plate on it, so he cut the ears off of the K-member. So this K-member is good, except no ears. So I don't know, maybe someday it'll be worth cutting those ears off, putting them on this K-member, bring it back to life. But for now, we're here for struts. So I've got 4 struts to choose from. I only need one. I'm gonna start with this guy. This guy has a pin right here. There's a roll pin in there that you gotta knock out. Usually we'll start to hit it through like this. Fuck. That's not good. More car stuff, car problems. This is what I'm thinking. I'm gonna try to clean all the rust off of this and then push it back the other way. I think that just went into the oblivion. There it is. I'm going to be honest with you. On the other side, the back side, back here, there's no cotter pin, there's no roll pin, there's nothing on here. I've never had any nuts vibrate off of there. I've never had this one vibrate off of there. Normally, when I put these back together, I don't bother putting these roll pins back in because they're such a pain in the ass to get out. But I think to be a little, precautious, I'm gonna go ahead and put a cotter pin in there. So if this thing did back out, it would hit the cotter pin and not fall out. It's a lot easier than dealing with these stupid things. Alright, this is going to be the next frustration if you haven't been through this before and already have a plan how to get around it. You're going to put this on here and go, well, let me get this off. But you can't, because that's just rotating. It's going to do the same thing in the car once you take that nut off. So I think your best plan of attack when it's in the car is to take this end off first before loosening that end. But it could still spin on you. So Next thing is to use a pipe wrench. Bigger pipe wrench with a pipe. So when it goes back together, K-members here, there's a sleeve that goes through it, then this, then the nut, and then roll pin for factory, cotter pin for simplicity. That looks good. Alright, so I got this from O'Reilly's. I went in the other day and ordered the Pitman arm and the idler arm. They could get the idler arm, and they said they had to do some call deal, like to see if they can get the Pitman arm. So I had to wait a day, they'd come back, and then got the answer, yes, we could get it. So I was able to get it. Looks pretty nice, already painted black, pretty cool. Throw some grease on there, bolt it up, comes with a Zerk fitting and a cotter pin. So while we got the struts soaking, we might as well go ahead and bolt these guys up. Alright, don't know if you could see it. Let me try to zoom in. There's a groove right there that's wide. And then, see how it's wide right there? So, and it's wide right there too. Anyway, this is only going to go on there one way, like that. This is 1 5/16. In case you're wondering, it's a huge socket. So I think to avoid dealing with this frustration again, I'm going to go ahead and tap this and run a lock washer instead of a flat washer, just like I did the other side. And in case you're wondering, see that area right there? That's what I was grabbing with the pipe wrench. It's not on this area here that's inside the control arm. It's this area. It's kind of like between the bushing and the K-member, so it's not going to hurt anything. Alright, so I got the control arm loose. I've got the struts soaking right now in evaporust. I'll wire wheel those and get them all cleaned up, and then I'll put the struts in. I'm kind of frustrated with myself, but you know, shit happens. The header kind of really threw me off my whole game, so at least I think, I don't know, maybe not, maybe I just forgot, because I should have put that in before I even figured out the header was a problem. But anyway, we'll do that. We'll get the strut in here, get the control arm in, we'll redo all of this, get this torsion bar back in, clip in, and then this side will be done. I'll do the other side. I've also got the steering link soaking, so I already got my idler arm in. Just put the Pitman arm in so we could put those on the car. And yeah, hopefully this weekend we'll have spindles on this thing and start getting rotors on and be able to drop the front end down on its wheels. That would be a huge goal. That would be a huge success if I can get that far. Also got to put the sway bar in and stuff too. So anyway, that's where we're at. Alright, I'm going to put the steering link on. Remember which way it goes. I believe these are tapered, so they can only go on there one way. So you can't put them on upside down. But could you put it on this way? It's possible. Backwards that way, I guess. But in the video I did taking this thing out, I pointed out that this piece, this area that drops down, it drops down and towards the rear. So kind of at a 45-degree angle that way. Can you kind of see that? So that's the way it goes in. That finger tight for now, and let's go do the Pitman arm side real quick. I ended up taking this cotter pin and using it somewhere else. Can't remember where, but it's all good. I bought this from Harbor Freight. This kit is kind of invaluable. Definitely worth buying and stashing somewhere. Nice assortment of cotter pins and stuff, so it'll be good to put this back together. Okay, here's the bushing kit I got for the struts. Part number 4-1202-BL. I believe I got these on eBay. So this is the strut. The coarse thread goes forward in the K-member. The fine thread goes through the control arm. And if you forget, that little roll pin hole is what goes forward. There isn't one on the other side. We're going to put one of these big fat washers on there. Now, I tried to put these new sleeves on here and it won't go on. I even wire wheeled the paint off just to see if I can get it to fit, and it won't fit. And it's probably not wrong, it's probably my struts just used, beat up. So luckily for me, I kept my old parts, which I always recommend. You always keep your old shit until you're done. Then you can throw shit away when you don't need it. So I'm gonna throw the sleeve on there, the bushing on here, which goes that way, and then that's gonna go through the K-member, and then I'm gonna go put the other washer, the other bushing on front like that, and then the nut. I'm gonna have to put it on from underneath. Let me show you this real quick. This is the coarse thread side. This side is like pinched so that when it goes on there tight, it's not gonna vibrate off. Just to give you a little more insurance that I don't need the roll pin in there. Like I said, I'm still gonna put a cotter pin in there, so for anybody worried about it. Getting the strut through here. Like that. Went ahead and I tapped out this nut and have a lock washer. Start to screw that on so the control arm doesn't fall off. Screw this nut on. This up, and then I should be able to get that going. I'm gonna tighten this. This might spin, might not. Alright, see it's starting to spin. Okay, this side is 3/4. This other side is 15/16. Alright, now I got the strut in, I got the nut on the pivot over there. I've got this nut on there. We're going to tighten everything down once we get the torsion bar back in. All right, the pivot is spinning again, even though the lock washer is on there. I mean, it's crushed down pretty good, but not quite as tight as I like it. So after I get all the rest of the suspension and brakes on and the weight of the car down, I'm gonna go back in here and tighten it down at that point. I think once all the weight of the car is on it, it's not gonna rotate and I'll be able to tighten it a lot easier. But this side is done, so I had to pull the lower control arm back out a little bit, which means I had to pull the torsion bar back out. By the way, it looks like the header kind of slowly worked its way back. There's still a decent gap, but where there's a weld around the collector, it's touching the torsion bar, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm happy just to get everything back together. So we got the strut in with new bushings up front. Got all this back together. This side is done. So next thing for this side is getting the spindle on. So I'm going to go to the other side and do the exact same thing. case I forget to videotape this going in on the other side, which, you know, it's not really worthy of videotaping. I'm not going to put this in until I tighten up that nut on the other side, which I already told you. I'm going to wait till the weight of the car is down on it before I do it. Alright, that's this side. So, okay, got the torsion bar back in. The clip is back on. The pivot pin nut is on. The rear strut nut to the control arm is on. And the front nut to the strut is on. And I put cotter pins on the front through the holes instead of roll pins. And since I had this control arm off, I went ahead and I changed the boot to the torsion bar. Since I had to take the torsion bar back off, I went ahead and changed the boot to the torsion bar to the body. I know it looks torn, it's torn, but I tore that when I popped it off. It wasn't torn before, but it's all good now. It's good to have, you know, fresh rubber on there so it doesn't tear on me. Okay, just push this guy back. Before I do, let me grab the grease. It's way over there. I'm gonna put a big old glob of grease inside the boot. And then slide it back. There's like a lip that the boot has to go over. Alright, it's done. Alright, so we're done. Torsion bars are done, struts are done, lower control arms are done. Spindles are next.